उलटा लावलं मॅडम. बरं येत आवाज आता. हा कुठं हे काय आलं या तुमचे तेच आहे आलं ना ते अनम्यूट होत म्यूट होतं. Here are some the types of resource constraints here. First one is the people. Differing skills add to the complexity of the project. Then second is here the materials here. Here the materials are available and shortage materials must be added in the project plan and schedule one. Then criteria, type, size and quantity of the interchange to improve schedules, usage of the common resources, pool and reverse reserve equipment for specific projects also here. There is a classification of scheduling program here. The time control and project time stands fixed here. One that should be done before imposed date. Resources can be calculated as a confirmed project and completion in time also here. Resources control here resources one that assumes exceeding level of available resources is not possible, and if the resources are insufficient, then it will be able to delay the project also here. Sometimes here is the scheduling programs and it must be taken into account here, that is the resources scheduling program for each resources, a program for each resources. The program calculates the total resources here, requirements of the profile by assuming period, summing period by period, requirements for the resources of all activities as they occur in early start or any other schedule here. There is no resource leveling here also is involved. Resource leveling in the project management, resource leveling is the technique in which start and finish dates are adjusted based on resources constants with the goal of minimizing slack jobs to non-peak period also. Here is the resource limits are not specified, but peak requirements are labeled as possible without delay in specified due dates also here. And there is also a resource allocation program. Here, the fixed amounts of the resources are allocated here. Fixed amounts are allocated available jobs according to certain scheduling heritage and determine which jobs will be postponed if total requirements of for given period exceeds resources available here also. The completion date of the project may be pushed ahead to keep within the specified resources limits also here. Here the resources distribution procedure. It is the procedure convention here. Breaking of actions are not permissible after action is started on schedule. It will be function until uninterrupted here by until it is over. The amount of resources consumed by an activity cannot be changed here. Here is the time control projects. There are some points here. Draw time scheme network, then perform resource loading, calculate the resources requirement period by period, then use slack periods to adjust resources of non-critical activities. Here smoothing is done on to achieve more or less uniform resource without changing the project duration also here. There are some benefits of it, and first benefit is that there are four benefits. Level of requirement for the resources gets down. Second is resources during the lifespan of the project it gets down. Then variation resources requirement get minimized and efficient and effective utilization of resources. So these are the four benefits of this one. Then second is resource control project here, where in some where when the number of people and equity is not adequate meet here the peak demand requirements, and it is impossible to obtain more here also. The project manager faces the resource constraint and problems. Sometimes something has to be viewed. The trick is to prioritize and allocate the resources to minimize the project delay without exceeding the resources limit or altering the technical network relationship here. There is also second is that is number of individuals or equipment are not sufficient to achieve the peak demand, and it is not possible to get more also. Here is the third one, that is arrange and assign resources to minimize the project delay without exceeding the resources level or shifting the technological network association. Here there are some methods here, and those methods are here. First, use the heritage program for the resource allocation. It allocates the resources to minimize the project delay. This is the first method. And arrange the in which activities are assigned to resources and which activities are late when resources are insufficient here. There is a priority, then here least slack, then least duration, and lower most activity is also identification number here. First is parallels method here, an interactive process that begins in the first time interval of the project and scheduling schedules the interval by interval any activity eligible to begin here. There is next is slack interval are utilized here to get reduced. Then third is a technological constraint along with the resources constraints may be delay the project here. What is the impact of resource constant scheduling? Like leveling here, there are schedules and limited schedules usually reduces the slack, reduces the flexibility by using flex, ensure delay, minimize, and increases here increases also the number of the critical and near critical activities also here. Scheduling the complexity is increased because resources constraints are added to the technical constraints, and start time may now have two constraints here. The traditional critical path concept of the sequential activities from the start to end of the project is no longer meaningful. So the resources can break the sequence of the leave and the network with the set of the disjointed critical activities also. Conversely, the parallel activities can become sequent here. Activities with the slack on the time constraint here network can change from critical to non-critical also here. There is the next point is that is splitting the activities. Split the continuous work involved in an activity by interrupting the task and sending the resources to another activity for interval of the time also. And then have resources continue then work on original activity also. Here is useful of the if the startup and shutdown costs are low here. The planner should avoid the splitting of the such as possible here also. Then there is point of there are some advantages of scheduling resources. There are two advantages of these scheduling resources. First one is resources timetable provided by the project manager. Budget here. The second is the project manager can measure the impact of the unexpected actions such as there are equipment breakdowns and transfer projects are here. Here the allocating the project where match the demands and requirements of the particular work with qualification and experience of present participants here. The second is hiring the best people to toughest assignment. Third is less experienced persons resent about not getting opportunity to expand their skills, knowledge base also here. The next is balance mix is the proposed with the teamwork and good culture here. There are some multiple resources scheduling also here. First one is efficiently assigning and planning resources across some projects with the different priorities. Resources demand sets and activities are hazards here. The second is system should be vibrant here. Third is capable of accommodating of fresh projects as well as reassessing resources once project work is done here. The, there are some limitations or disadvantages also here. Limitations are three here. First one, overall scheduling slippage and the project shares resources. Delays on one project can have wrinkle effect and make other projects late also here. The second is ineffective resources use here. Different projects have different timetables and peaks and valleys in total resources demand. This is the second limitation. The third one is resources bottlenecks here. Delays and plans are stretched as a result of shortage of critical resources that are